In the era of Warhammer 3, with all the cavalry buffs that have gone on over time, the Dragon Princes and especially the Regiment of Renowned Fireborn just fell behind over time. Now, at least, the Fireborn have had their AP values flipped, meaning they can compete with the best of the best, like Grail Knights and so forth. We're going to be looking at them over the course of a bunch of replays, you know, alternating. I'm not going to just load you all with High Elves as much as Rider Rohan. The High Elf player here, of course, would want that. But let's take a look at the build here. We're going to be talking a bit about the Fireborn today. I'll no doubt highlight them more in future replays, but supported by Alariel and the Frostheart Phoenix for some healing and the debuffs and snares and so forth from the Frostheart also synergize quite well. Hogwarts Pride here for a little bit of anti-infantry, sort of chariot-like behavior. I'll be honest, I haven't tried the chariots of the High Elves since the change, although I'm definitely looking forward to getting some chariot games in soon. Founds of Torqueladus, this is of Avalorns for some synergy as well. Front line of Spearmen, it looks like here. And yeah, Staunch line of Spears, another Dragon Prince out on the far side there. As for their opponent, we've got the Lizardmen here. Tehenwyn leading the way. I don't remember, I think the Engine of the Gods here did get some buffs. I don't remember, I think the Burning Alignment perhaps was improved. I have to look at all the other effects and changes, to be honest, there was so much. But Red Crest here, we've got Skin Cohort, Feral Cold Ones, and Saurus Scarvet up on a Carnosaur as well. I think Carnosaur's also going to have a strength buff. I don't think so, maybe. Anyway, Cold One Spear Riders and some Feral Cold Ones with a Arc of Sotek, very thematic and appropriate for this build, of course. The AoE damage, not as broken as it has been at certain times, but can be good. Certainly, here, Rider Rohan's going to be focus firing a little bit of his archer fire there just to take out some of that anti-infantry damage. Of course, Tehenwyn's also a big, expensive target for him to shoot at as well, but let's see how the cavalry get deployed here. Right now, looking to perhaps win a mobility advantage or just in general do some damage here. Oh yeah, that Burning Alignment, swing and a miss still in the back line. It's not going to do too much damage, it's still relatively dodgeable due to the long wind-up time. Still going to be continuing focus fire on that Arc of Sotek as its AoE damage is more impactful. The Fireborn do overrun a little bit in those Feral Cold Ones. The Spear Riders a little bit late to respond rather than actually rear charging the Fireborn here, which would have been a really good opportunity to get some cost-effective damage, although they would have had a very hard time getting out of that engagement, right? Because of the Frostheart Phoenix there. Look like they're going to go try and pressure that cavalry backline, but so far, or the archer backline rather, the archers focus firing nicely, but three big single entities for the Lizardmen as well, and yeah, didn't quite finish the Bastiladon, so that does mean that the focus fire, not being able to finish off that unit, switches on to another unit. It's going to spread the damage out a little bit more rather than efficiently kind of bursting down the targets, but at the same time, from a value perspective, Tehenwyn's definitely the most expensive here and important. The Saurus Scarvet, kind of just ancillary support monster here, but let's see. Looks like the Cold One Spear Riders, they themselves get rear charged in an absolute disaster by the Fireborn. Nice upgraded Flock of Doom though, is going to do some very good damage, especially if Tehenwyn can keep casting that on these Fireborn. That will definitely get a lot of value over time and will be a way of dealing with them, but of course with Alariel's healing she should be able to sustain them. It looks like the Saurus Scarvet gets caught out here without support and ends up taking a bunch of damage himself since there's no healing for the Lizardmen. No any way for him to recover this, but again, switching targets now onto Tehenwyn does mean the damage is going to continue to be spread between these single entities. Frostheart Phoenix doesn't get the memo until a little bit later. Perhaps the Saurus Scarvet could have turned around and punished a little bit there, but Chameleon Skinks haven't really been getting involved too much. Also got this Dragon Prince that's just been holding out on this flank for quite some time, holding up some more Cold One Spear Riders. But yeah, the healing, of course, and sustain on the Fireborn is going to be quite impactful as they try and keep fighting against these big single entities. They're kind of cycling in and out, right? So our Scarvet charges in. Tehenwyn pulling away there. Needs some more Flock of Doom to throw down on the Fireborn just to keep damaging them. The AoE damage also from the Arc of Sotek could help if you can get it down in time on them. But let's see, another Burning Alignment going off. Trying to finish off some more of those spears, free up these cohort of Sotek to come back and help support this engagement, although it does end up doing a lot of friendly damage as Rider Rohan pulls his spears back there to those cohort of Sotek. And it looks like the Cold Ones, Feral Cold Ones, and Skinks in the center starting to rout That being said, the Saurus Scar Veteran, which is absolutely tongue-tying me today, is a little low. We'll see. These are all these single entities are getting a little bit wild, but Rider Rohan's forces, again, not quite able to finish off any individual targets. The Lizardmen are still able to operate some of their units. Well, looks like, yeah, finally the Bastiladon getting finished off there. It does look like Hogwarts Pride is also done. The Fireborn are also getting quite low as well. So, just in time, the Saurus Scarvet's getting down below a quarter HP himself. Henowin's still sustaining here, and the Chameleon Skink's actually kind of running into melee here against the Sisters of Avalorn, and just generally being a nuisance in this late game. Have a decent amount of ammunition to potentially contribute here, but that Archer fire onto Henowin certainly does hurt. An inability to shut down both these Archer units. Well, maybe. It looks like these Skinks collapsing from the backside. These Chameleon Skinks also involved in a melee when probably shouldn't be. Well, they ran in valiantly, and now we're going to run back away, skirmishing a bit on the run. Court of Sotek moving in. Unfortunately, to Henowin just getting hit in the back here. Yeah, the Noble didn't even catch him in here. He's just been sneaking through the whole time with his little anti-large bonus. Pretty low weapon strength overall, but still decent stats all around, and that anti-large AP definitely helps in a situation like this, where you do need to fight some big scary monsters. And it's kind of all hands on deck to do so. But right now, whoop, as the camera bugs out, let's not do that. See the Frosty. The debuff, honestly, in a sustained fight like this is so great, especially considering a lot of the Lizardmen units. Their attack stats aren't that great. Like, you look at the Cold One Spear Riders, only 24 base attack, granted. You do have that anti-large bonus as well, but yeah, that Blizzard Aura also reducing the weapon strength. Just such a powerful effect over time, and especially when combined with healing. But Henowin's certainly not going quietly into that good night. Going to move around and terrify what way let's let these spears start to shatter a lot of these units. Chameleon Skinks, again, being able to provide support, but just the bulk of the High Elves here still have so much health in terms of their power units. I say so much health. Fireborn are pretty much done. They're on their last limbs, but still able to sustain through this last limb via healing, and it's going to hit, of course, the Frostheart Phoenix as well, hit Alariel herself, who is not a pushover. I mean, she's 300 weapon strength, 67 melee defense. Definitely not bad. It's enough to prevail over the Lizardmen here. Very fun thematic build from the Lizardmen, I have to say, even if it's not the most meta thing in the world, but still. Definitely fun to see Tequila Sunset trying something different here. And Henowin actually does get some bad value there, so really can't argue with him too much. In terms of raw damage value, it's just, unfortunately, a lot of the other elements of the build maybe fell a little bit short. Even still, inflating values from healing on the High Elves, but even still, yeah, the Arc of Sotek, unfortunately, not what it used to be, although it is very thematic. It would just be better probably to have a solar engine in its place right now, which is interesting to say. I didn't even think that way probably a couple months ago, but the solar engines, I don't know, I feel like the Vigor buff could be very good here, and also the Blinded debuff, even hitting, you know, Dragon Princes with that, even though it's not going to do a ton of damage to them, do some damage over time, and just kind of keep up some additional pressure. I don't know, hard to say. Maybe you option this out for just the healing one instead, since you do lack the healing in this build, and that kind of helps you sustain through some of those fights. But interesting battle nonetheless. Fireborn definitely do a great job and get an insane amount of value. They are one of the strongest cavalry in this game now, once again, and they definitely should be, considering their price. But the rest of Rider's build pretty much does what it needs to. Frostheart Phoenix doesn't get a lot of value on its own, but the debuff value, kind of helping control Tequila Sunset's movements, definitely helped out quite a bit. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.